Toxic positivity, what does that actually look like? What it means is that no matter what you're going through, how depressed you feel, hard times, grief, sadness, anger, you're meant to be constantly positive. This smiley, cheery face, when deep within here, you're feeling exactly the opposite. I'm Chantal, holistic counselor and Akashic record here at Unfold Your Freedom. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but I needed to work through my own issues to be able to share with you also the lived experience, as well as expanding to you what it means. So remember, if you get triggered, please go and get support. You're not the only one, and it's actually not life to be constantly happy. We always need to have, there's always going to be the balance between not feeling good to feeling good, and it's okay not to be okay. For some reason in our society, we have got to that point where it's all about platitudes, because we actually don't know how to have these difficult conversations, how to support someone. And often it's well meant by the person, but it can actually dismiss how you're feeling. It can actually pull the rug from under you. So of course what you do is you begin to doubt yourself. But we don't have the conversations. We don't know how to hold that space just to allow you or someone to actually say, today I'm feeling depressed, sad, angry, resentful, all those things. And that is also part of healing from trauma. Because if we don't experience those things, I'm going to talk about that in my next video with spiritual bypassing, you're not going to be able to grow, you're not going to be able to transform, you're not going to be able to change things, it's not going to be able to get out of your body, because we are constantly pretending. We put on that lovely brave face when we walk out the door. Now sometimes you need to do that, sometimes it's appropriate to do that, but as long as you really do express how you feel, whether that be through journaling, sharing with someone you trust, with the psychologist, whoever it might be, get that support, all right? So what it does when someone gives you those platitudes is it makes you question, it makes you doubt, am I really feeling this? Is it really that bad? And what happens is you just keep suppressing it, that's all you're doing. So you reject those difficult emotions that you're having, those really painful ones. I know just recently going through a bout of depression, I was mindful who I shared that with at first, because what people say, and I'll put the link here to the depression video that I've done, is, oh, but you look so well, you don't look so bad. See, all that is just negating how I was feeling within, because of course, a happy person looks like this, as I say, but also a depressed person can look like this. So don't underestimate what someone is feeling within, and don't you underestimate that, because it's not realistic. And it's not part of life forever being happy. It's just that I remember reading a story as a young person, so I don't know if you, Pollyanna, she was always happy. So my mum and I used to tease each other, let's be a Pollyanna. So it's that sense of everything's always lovely, always happy, always delightful, all right? But as I said, these can be well-intentioned, but they can actually be really harmful, all right? And it does invalidate you and you as a person and your experiences, all right? And it can be shaming. You can really feel ashamed. That's why we then don't talk about how we're feeling, because we're worried about people criticizing us, judging us, not belonging. All those things come into play, all right? This is what's taken me a while to talk about this, because I really needed to own what I've been experiencing and will always experience to some extent or other, but you learn how to manage it, all right? And it's because we, as I said, we don't have the conversations. People don't know what to say. So it's also about us gaining the courage, which is not always easy to do when you're a bad place, to say, actually, no, this is how I'm feeling. And I'm going to come to that in a moment. So signs of toxic positivity are brushing off problems, okay, rather than facing them. So you do that too, because we're taught to do that, as well as someone else doing it for you. You hide your feelings behind all these beautiful quotes and memes. And I see this on Facebook a lot. Everything's always positive. When no, not always positive. No, it's about sharing those other sides too. Shaming someone, as I said before, and they don't feel upbeat and don't have a positive attitude. Oh, you're bringing me down, or you're being negative. So I'll come to some of those in a moment. You feel guilty and embarrassed, as I said, about feeling sad, depressed, angry, hurt, frustrated, all those sort of things. Normal. Of course we can feel that, but it's what you do with it. It's about allowing it to rise, and it's how you, as I said, deal with that, allowing them to rise and pass through you. And therefore, of course, you minimize how you feel, so it's much easier. So toxic statements are, just stay positive, look on the bright side, don't worry, it could be worse. So again, comparing yourself to someone else. As I said, someone else is worse off than you. So be grateful for what you have. That's what I'll show. Look at what you have around you. No, I don't feel that at the moment. I don't feel grateful. In fact, I feel like, I want to die or not be here. So if this triggers you, remember, seek help. Things happen for a reason. No. Why do we need to say that? Sometimes something just happens. You can learn from it down the track. But, again, it's putting the blame on you, making you feel bad that you have actually created this to learn something. Why? Not necessarily. Good vibes only. Happiness is a choice. No, it isn't a choice. You've sometimes got to work through it. You've got to work through the emotions to be happy. It's not just a choice. You just can't go, boom, I'm happy. No, but you can support yourself. Like something someone taught me years ago when I was going through the PDST at my worst. Just even when I could, a little smile on your face. Let's just do that now. Smile and just feel how it uplifts you. Might not be only for a second, might not last long, but it's something to do, all right? Don't bring negativity in this space. I don't want negative vibes around me. Really? Never doubt yourself. You've got this. Well, sometimes you are going to doubt yourself. Something's happened. It's rocked your boat. It's taken you out off center. You are going to have moments of doubt and insecurity and unsureness, particularly if you're doing something new, particularly if something has happened that's really taken you off course. Don't cry. It won't change anything. I'm a crier, but I've been told, don't cry. You don't need to cry. It's not that bad. Everything will work out in the end. Yes, that may be, but right now you don't feel that. Right now you don't feel that. Hear me. So yes, it will work out. And sometimes you need to hear that, but in the right context, that this will pass, to give you hope to keep going, that it will pass. You are too strong to be sad. This is for those of us who are, or anyone really, you come across as strong, independent. Oh, you're too strong to be sad. Well, no. Why? Strong people can be insecure, unhappy, go through bad times too. So these are all the things that are toxic positivity, all right? Problems aren't real. Why are you worrying? Stay positive and your negative thoughts will disappear. There you go. So how to support yourself in this. Always remember, no, it's okay to not be okay. I know we hear this a lot, but it's actually, I say that to myself quite a bit, particularly over the last few months when I was going through the depression. It's okay not to be okay. No, there's nothing wrong with you when you go through something like that. Because of course, you think there is something wrong. You should be strong. You shouldn't be feeling this way. All those things come into play, okay? You don't need to learn a lesson, as I've already said, and you're not to blame. You are not to blame. Sometimes these things happen and it's about staying with it. It's learning to put support systems around you. This is what I found with this. And I did come through it a lot quicker than I would have done in the past, because I know now how to support myself and to actually go and seek support. Learn to manage your emotions rather than deny them. So again, that is about feeling them safely, of course, allowing them to pass through, to come up and pass through, okay? Learn not to shut down. So that takes courage and it takes practice. Learn not to shut down, because sitting in that place, this is again what I'll talk about in the spiritual bypassing, is we don't want to stay there. We actually don't want to stay in our bodies and our feelings. It's far easier to be out there and prefer someone else to do it for us. Be realistic about how you feel. Good, bad, ugly, everything in between. Just be realistic. This is how I'm feeling right now, and that is okay. It's what you do with it, as I've said. Wherever you can, challenge the person who you feel is being toxic towards you or trying to give you platitudes. That takes a lot of courage. I could only do it for the first time recently, just saying, no, actually, this is how I'm feeling right now. And I needed to remove myself from some people because I didn't need to hear that. It just made me actually feel worse. And in fact, it depressed me even more, all right? And you can feel more than one thing at a time. So you can feel depressed, anger, love. You can have those moments of joy. So it's about being with all the emotions that you have, as hard as it may be. Then put your feelings into words, and that could be speaking it out. It can be writing in a journal. I'm going to put a link there on how to do that if you haven't already done it. It can also be through art. So I'm doing both. I'm doing it with writing, and I did it with also art. You can use color, brush strokes, doodling, all sorts of different things to support you. And above all, practice self-care. Really look after yourself. Ask for help. Reach out. Because you don't need to do this alone. We think we do, but we actually don't. And it's finding someone you feel safe with, whether it be a person, a professional, a friend, a group, somewhere where you can just go, you know, it's okay, all right? Even though, this is the other big one, you feel you should be able to cope on your own. You don't have to, all right? You don't need to be strong and independent all the time. So just remember, you don't need to constantly be positive. You're going to have those ups and downs. That is part of life. It just isn't possible, and it's exhausting, stressful, and you're not being real. You're not being true to yourself. You know, you're not going to enjoy life fully. Experiencing those negative feelings is actually part of life. And that sounds odd. It's part of the richness of life, even though it's not nice, all right? We are always going to have something happen. We are always going to face at some point difficulties. You may as well, with safety, face it head on, come through and go, okay, that is now done. And then you can come back into life in a stronger, in a way, in a richer way. That's what I'm finding at the moment. It has really changed me because it highlighted some places where, or some areas that I needed to look at, where I needed to give myself more love and kindness, all right? So keep connecting with your body, heart, mind, and soul. Just keep coming back into here, all right? And it's about learning to go with the flow, the ebbs and flows of life, because that is what it's all about. And as I said, know how to support. Where possible, move yourself away from people that hurt or harm you. Thank you for witnessing me. Any comments, please feel free to share with anyone you feel needs to hear this. Subscribe and hit notifications, because the next one will be about spiritual bypassing.